I'm just a huge fan of choice. Everybody don't get down like I get down, but that's what makes it cool to me.
Yeah. Speaking of choice, I still get back to Herschel. I have never seen in all my years somebody so ill-equipped to be in the profession of having. Can you hear them in the background? Can you hear anybody in the background?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I'm kind of refraining for the edit purpose.
Yeah, because I.
Because when you hear it, you're going to edit it out.
Go ahead, you good.
So it is a great example of the ignorance of a system based on white supremacy.
Yeah.
It's an original playbook move that Republicans have been using for quite a while.
Yeah.
I think what is the best thing about it is when you look at the numbers, it appealed to their base.
Yeah.
This was a person that was handpicked by Donald Trump because of his relationship with Donald Trump. Had nothing to do with Georgia, his ability to be a decent politician. He was just a dude that won the Heisman Trophy from Georgia.
Yeah.
They were going to
And
tell him what to do anyway. Sort of like Vladimir was pretty much just going to tell Tricky Dick what to do over there. What's his
yeah.
man name? Donald Trump. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is more a indictment on the descendants of slaves.
I mean, I just like that. I told somebody else, it's like they picked him up from 1840
But you
and
know
dropped
what?
him in.
Let's get beyond what he is and who he is because he's trash. He's garbage. It's known. It's not a debate. It's an indictment against all these pro-black Negroes that swear they down with the cause and they woke in the movement. But your ass can't understand you need to be down there voting because that's how this game is played and that's how you score and win.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what's so sad. They wanted you to vote for a freaking a marionette,
Yeah.
a
Pretty much.
minstrel. You know what he reminds me of? You remember the old fashioned and they cranked the little monkey that used to dance
Yeah.
with the little hat on the stick? That's
Yeah.
what he reminds me of.
Yeah.
I don't even know black people like Herschel Walker.
No, me either. I
But
didn't even
what
think they
we
made him. With all the money and all the opportunity he had plenty of opportunity to what's the word I'm looking for? Not evolve.
to be
I'm
better,
losing it.
to be a better human being,
To be a better speaker, to be a better human.
didn't have to be because he had already had his money. He didn't get his money from speaking well. He didn't get his money from having class. He didn't get
Nah,
his money from doing anything that required any type of dignity at all.
he got his money from grifting off his fame.
Running a football.
Yeah.
That's why that's all he is. He isn't even a decent father, according to his son.
Yeah.
He ain't even a decent husband or boyfriend compared to his exes.
I was thinking about this the other day. Remember, the Democrats did away.
If you listen to Herschel, kill yourself. Shit.
the Democrats did away with Al Franken for stuff he did when he was a comedian on stage and on tour. And we got, yet they want people to forget about that. And we got a dude who was really a womanizer who was.
But we can't draw that comparison.
I mean,
that's a whole, like, say for instance, if this was sport, that would be like bowling and football. They ain't the same thing at all.
What do you mean? How you say this?
As it relates to Al Franken and what they did, Al Franken was knowledgeable.
Yes.
Al Franken had the issue framed properly.
Yes.
And he actually participated as a citizen making a mark on governance.
Yes.
Just like my man that just got notice brought to the veterans and how we treat veterans. My man from Daily Show. No,
Oh,
Stewart,
John
right?
Stewart. Yeah.
Stewart. Because let's not like certain professions, everybody ain't a fool. Shout out Kyrie Irving. I'll support him wherever he go.
Yeah.
Because he plays basketball for a living. But that has nothing to do with the man that he is.
No.
And what he's saying. And one, I ride with the truth. So you against the truth, F you.
And I was
And
thinking
that
about
other word that rhymes with it.
I was thinking about that the other day, and we just had Dave Chappelle on SNL.
Awesome.
And I see people going in on him, and I don't understand why. It's not his job to be
because it's above their level.
All
it's
he's
above
saying to them.
It's above their level. See, when white supremacists meet somebody that's really above their level, the only thing they can do is defend.
Tear them down.
That's the only thing. What else can they do? You can't smart someone if you a dumbass.
I'm sorry, hold on. Are you talking to me, Jen? Yeah. Yes. I was just gonna say, y'all need to watch Reversing Road. I'm sorry? Y'all need to watch this Reversing Road on Netflix.
I don't need to.
He talks about way more.
I have a penis. I have a penis. Me too. Mine's just tucked away. I have a penis. Mine's just tucked. I am pro abortion. But yeah, that's what. And any woman that votes for a Republican, you's a dumb helper. Yeah. You just dumb. You gave the rights to your vagina. Good switch. Else. Good switch. You switched the right track on that one. How can any woman say to herself, I'd rather some ridiculous, old, impotent white dude decide what I do with my reproductive organs? I just got to a point the other day where I just realized, you know what? That's because people doing more talking than they do listening. Because from the gate about that issue, one of the things I looked up first was, I think there was when they started abolishing it in Ireland. And there was a woman who was, I don't know how far along she was, but the doctors understood that she was a troubled pregnancy. And her and the husband had to go to court to fight to try and have her right to save her life and terminate the pregnancy. That was one of the second cases actually in the Roe versus Wade issue. The first woman wasn't even pregnant. However, she didn't like the fact that if she decided, due to her medical condition and the risk that she would have been at, that anyone would be able to make that decision other than herself. Yeah. Then there was another doctor who tried to link his case to it because he was the doctor that would be performing, who had already been pretty much almost convicted pretty much for performing, or didn't want to be, he didn't know what to do, but he tried to attach his case. And then there was the one, I believe, the case that you're talking about, right? Oh, this is where years ago. Where the woman was actually pregnant. This is years ago. This wasn't even Roe. This is like, oh, okay, that's different than Roe. Okay, yeah, okay. Several years ago, and that was kind of what flipped my mentality to say, hold up, we need to shut up, because the family, the husband and the wife, tried to file suit in their courts to allow them to terminate the pregnancy, and the courts did not allow it, and the hospital wouldn't break the law, and the woman died. Mm-hmm. And the baby lived, but the woman died. And that's the way some people want it. But that's the way some people want it. That's where they need to back. That's where common sense. I wouldn't say common sense. Exactly. It's but just to me, empathy. I don't even care if Stacey Abrams had been white, she was still the better candidate. By
Yeah.
far, she was the better candidate. There isn't a better politician that you would want to run for Senate than Raphael Warnock.
Yeah. They, the funny thing here in Georgia, I remember Warnock when he was not a senator, when he was just a
Right.
pastor,
I worked with him as a pastor.
standing up for the rights of people in general,
Exactly.
putting himself out there on the line. And he finally stepped in and said, okay, I'm going to do this. I had not, there have been a lot of pastors in Atlanta, in Georgia, who've been doing a lot of things. But this dude was standing up and
Right.
he was putting it out there, and he was marching and he was doing all that work. And it's kind of funny, the same folks who believe that or want to tell you they believe that Martin Luther King was such a great man, they got the next closest thing to it.
Come on, man. That's what I'm
And
saying.
they can't even see.
That's why I tease you so much about this issue, because you think that you can appeal to the intellect of, you can't appeal to the intellect of an asshole.
Well, here's the thing. If people don't look at this, when it comes to the United States, when you look at almost every general election, yes, some people, some get overwhelming support and it'd be lopsided wins. But when you look at the general election for president, and I went and looked all the way back to Nixon and even Kennedy, typically there's only if you take out the electoral college, the general votes don't be that different. It'd be so close, 51-49, 50.5 to 49.5. It's that close every
And it's
time.
because it's just as many righteous against wicked. It's just as many ignorant against intelligent. It's
And
just
still,
as many black against white.
And it's still, the worst part about it is the best we've ever come up with is 40-something% participate.
And that's so sad. And people really think that, if you look at it, go to a newly liberated country and look at their voter turnout. Newly liberated country. Man, imagine if America showed up like that. We need every good, decent person to go and do what's good and decent and exercise your civic duty to vote.
Well, the one thing I would say, I'm at this point now, I don't care if you don't vote. If you don't know Jack, don't go in there voting. And I give an example. Back, if we think about the progression of this country over the past, they say 20 years, back in 2002, 2004, they put on the ballot about gay marriage.
I am so out of wine right now.
And they wanted to outlaw same-sex marriage. Here we are 16 years after that vote, and federal law is protecting, but even though some states don't recognize
I'm gonna tell you what's worse than that. People still give a shit. That's worse than that. Or that somebody black would sit back and not vote and swear that the LGBT community get whatever they want. What did they get? What did they get that was such a big deal to make you think that they doing it like that?
Yeah.
What did they get that made you feel some kind of way? They got to do what? Marry who they love? Maybe if you marry who you love, maybe your family would be a little bit better. Ass. Maybe we should go the several baby mama route and don't take care of nobody. Maybe we should do that. Maybe that's a great idea.
The Herschel route.
The Herschel route.
Well, I'm sorry. He supposedly took care of his.
Whatever. He's such, man. I mean, lie after lie. Look, the psychopath. She won. Marjorie Greene.
Yeah.
A clear psychopath. But there's enough people in her district like that type of thing. And if you hear in Georgia, guess what? Guess the population.
With 66% that she won.
Guess the population.
And here's the bad part, the sad part about it, and that's why I'm talking about voting. I hate ignorant voters, because they didn't vote for her. Many of them didn't vote for her because of what she represents.
No, because
They
she don't
voted for
represent
her
them.
because she was not Democrat.
She
And
need
they
to.
had been whipped into shape to
Can you?
believe that
I can't say the
Democrat.
other word. What about the C word? Can I say that one? Well, she should
You
get
know,
that tattoo. CUNT.
she she knew. Here's the funny thing. Really, they really what they're doing is playing politics, right? That's all it really is. In the
Right.
red, in the deep red joints, they know they ain't got to do nothing
Come
to
on, man.
moderate.
The point is, we never got it straight after Reconstruction.
No,
People that sided with the Confederacy shouldn't even be allowed to be in office to this day.
no, they
Period.
shouldn't.
This whole
And,
notion about the South this and the South that, screw them. Everybody from the North, keep migrating back.
and I was telling somebody the other month, I said, you don't even understand when you've been peppered with this by the KKK. And I mean, a lot of people don't understand. I mean, I didn't really pay attention to this stuff, but the whole notion of states' rights all came from the KKK
That's
because
what it's about.
they created that narrative in order to re-educate America so that they wouldn't be looked at as a bad side.
And they just
They
want to
put
treat
it,
everybody how they want to treat them per state. They want to have all these weird ass rules to do what they want. Let's just not, we don't even have to put slavery in it. You got certain states that believe it's okay to get your sister pregnant.
I
They
even
think
take it
that's
to,
okay. They think that's okay.
I
So
take
they
it
make it
another
legal
level.
in their state.
I take it another level. Here we are now, almost we a week after the almost a week after the election.
Mm-hmm.
Now they put up these laws in Nevada and in Arizona so that all this stuff had to be followed to make sure to cure the ballot, to do this, to do that. I mean, I voted absentee in the 2020 election, right? Dropped it in. I mean, damn, you have a number sequence that you're given. It aligns with who you are in your voter registration. Anything else that goes to, oh, we're going to compare the signature and oh, we're going to do this, all that stuff is meant to stream out, to
I
pull out.
voted 1 year with my concealed weapons permit. She didn't even ask me for my license. She just asked me for ID. I grabbed what looked like I was the first thing that I seen and gave it to her. She didn't say nothing. I didn't say nothing. All she did was check the name and looked at me and made sure I was the person whose face was on the card.
But here's the crazy thing to me with that Nevada and Arizona. They put up those laws and then they want to criticize how long it's taken, but they're the ones that put the laws in place that these people had to follow all these guidelines.
In defense of Nevada, selling ass is legal. you never. I just had this conversation with my wife the other day. Why is that the only place where prostitution is legal? Because the people in that state, that group of people that had that power, wanted to make money doing that. So they made it a law.
As long as certain people,
Exactly,
certain
dude.
people allowed to make the laws, as long as they can make money, they're gonna make the laws to support
it ain't like that. It's a heavy populated state compared to other urban metros.
And it definitely allows people to drive there for it.
Exactly. Just like one, say for instance, you can't have sex with, couldn't what? Alabama used to have some different kind of rules and stuff as it relates to marriage, right?
Yeah.
Remember, you could legally marry girls at 13 and all that. And a lot of folks had records where that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
Thus, that certain Mann Act or whatever for transporting a female across state lines for, quote, indecent acts or what may have you. Ain't that crazy? Yeah. Ain't that, think about it. The Mann Act, by the way, is what we're talking about. Go look it up. I can't remember the specific age, but it has something to do with transporting a woman across state lines for what someone else deems unethical, I believe, because that law in itself is inherently sexist, by the way, because one, for some reason, we still treat women almost like second-class citizens. And then sometimes they take advantage of that, especially in issues related to sexual nature.
Yeah.
They use it at their advantage. You know, coming up with every excuse in the book, despite what's best for your health and welfare, I would say. Let's just put it like that, to be kind of nice about it. Because in general, laws really are made in an attempt to support what's best. Can we say it like that?
That's the best way you can say it.
Right, because there's so many different laws, and it's the ideology of the person that you allow to have the seat to cast a vote on this foolishness. What do you trust Herschel Walker to do?
Ooh.
What do you trust him to? What is so great about him? How did he
Whatever
impress you?
Whatever they tell him to do, he couldn't even quote a doggone law.
No, we've seen that. It
He,
doesn't even matter. And it didn't even matter to how many voters in the state of Georgia. Shame on Georgia. Shame on the Republican Party. You could have presented an intelligent candidate, but you let an asshole president pick an asshole senator
subservient.
to run.
Subservient one.
I am so glad that is not indicative of the African American community anymore, and African Americans did not fall for it. However, that base that has been supporting that ideology for over 100 years still are that way. And they will come out of the woodwork to vote against a black-faced female running for governor. Yes. And then you got these impotent Negroes, men specifically, sexist but so-called oppressed, that didn't want to vote for a woman. Just didn't want to vote for a woman.
Maybe you know some. I don't
11% turnout.
I don't 11%. Let me ask you a question. I haven't looked at the numbers, right? Mm-hmm. When it comes to voters, I know that 4 million voted in the senator's race. How many voted in the governor's?
Well,
I mean, there should not have been a drop off.
I don't believe there wasn't 50. There may have been there. One thing that's encouraging is there was more people did vote. But it's like that because so few people have voted previously.
Well, what I mean by that, I'm just looking for the numbers because I remember in 2020, there was a lot of people that went up and voted for president, and they voted, like, example, young people across the country, they made sure to go in and walk in and vote against Trump and then walked out. So essentially, all these other folks in 2020, folks who really should not have ever made it over, it was like the drop off of the amount of votes.
Let's say total turnout in.
I mean, if you look at the governor's race alone,
total turnout was like 1,123,318.
Hold up. Now, are you looking at just the governor's race?
No, this is the election period.
Now I'm trying to look at the numbers. So
and
I know 4 million. 4 million voted.
That's almost a little over the population of Atlanta, right?
I don't even know. Approximately 4 million in total, like 2 million.
2,524,000.